Good morning from Pia's bathroom. I'm getting ready to do water changes this morning, and I just wanted to show people who don't have a large fish room the way I do it. I was watching a Dustin video, and he was interviewing Gary Lang, and Gary said, "Gary, don't carry." So at that time I was doing buckets, and I have had multiple injuries from horses, so my lower back doesn't handle it well. So this is what I came up with. First of all, I use 3 buckets here in the tub, and then I fill them with different attachments. In other words, I can put this on here, and I can fill this bucket. I have a longer one here that'll fill this bucket, and then I have see the milk jug top there? That's what I fill the first one with. So that's how I do that. And I have my prime out. I always set it out the night before because it's so important. You don't want to forget this. And how I measure mine, I go to the local feed mill and I get syringes. And then I just keep them rubber band on, and then I always put one, I think this one's milliliters, yeah. This is in milliliters. And so I just put 1 whole milliliter. I know that for this 5-gallon bucket, I only can do a half. But I'm here in Central Florida, and I've had trouble in the past with my fish dying because of additives to the water, and we were not made aware. So I'm just an overkill person that way, and I just want to be careful. So that's what I do. I start and I put my dose into each bucket first. Then I fill it so that it circulates through as the water's flowing. And back here is where I keep my adjustments, my tubes to drain water out of the tanks or to put water into the tanks. Okay, so that's the back of the bathroom door, and this is where I keep all my tubing. On the left here, this setup is a Petco brand, and I use it, gosh, I've been using it now about 2 years. Works great. And I vacuum the gravel. I just put the pipe in and vacuum. And I put the siphon closer to the end because I hook this end into a hose, and I'll show you that. And then I made this. I bought food grade hose here. I went to Lowe's and asked in the plumbing department for food grade tubing, and then that same gentleman, I said, now I need a female receptor to fit into this tubing, and he went ahead and he picked these 2 parts for me. We put them together, and I've used this ever since. It works beautifully, and I will also show you how this hooks together. Okay, now I'll show you how I hook up this hose. Here's a regular garden hose and my adapter, and it just screws on. It's very easy. That's all you do. Just screw it on, tighten it up a little bit. Now I do leave this section in the tub because sometimes it does drip. So we'll just lay that down into the tub gently because this is pretty heavy brass. And then I bring the other end around, which is just plain, and it fits over the end of this pump. And when I bought this tubing, I made sure I had this pump with me so that the gentleman who was assisting me at Lowe's could measure and make sure this would fit. Now, this does have a bit of a bend in it, and that's okay because it works for me where I put it on in this direction, and then I slide it down into the 5-gallon bucket. And the intake is here on the bottom right here, and then I just slide it down into the bucket just like this and push it down, and then it has suction cups, and I stick it to the side and it'll stay there when the bucket is full and draw out the water I need. And then when it's done, of course, it's going to gurgle and you can hear it, and you come back in and put it in the next bucket. So this system has worked really well for me. This particular pump is also from Lowe's in their pond department. This is a 400 gallon an hour pump, and it will shoot water up, like if you wanted a fountain, up 6 feet into the air, and that's why I went with this one. It also has an adjustment on it to make less flow. But because my tanks are on stands, and the 55 is up about 4 feet, I said, I need something that has some pressure to be able to push up, and it's worked great. I can't complain. This has been a really good pump, and I just can't complain one bit. Like I said, I found it in the the pond department at Lowe's. So that's how I do this part of the process. Now I'll show you my emptying part of the process. Okay, now I'm going to hook up my draining system. It's just an old piece of garden hose I had, and I cut the end off, and then it's the tube that is connected to the plunger. And this is, like I said, on a Petco brand plunger and drain system, and I just kind of push it in and then work it in, and it will connect. I push it in a little more, and there you go. And this has not ever let loose, but I'm also very careful when I'm working with it. I do lay this on a towel and this part on a towel, because I have had to pull these ends off from time to time because I get a little bit of Java fern caught in it, and it won't flow as well. And sometimes you can press and press the plunger all you want, and it's not going to clear itself. So sometimes you have to clear it. So that's how I do it. And I'll go ahead and start on my 29. And then I just take the other end and run it out the front door. You'll have to excuse the cardboard. I'm having a little tile work done in one bathroom. Okay, just a simple process of gravel backing. I leave the blue tube on the floor, which you can't see, it's not in the frame. Step on it a couple times. Starts the siphon, and then I can just come over and start working the gravel. I'm careful of my plant roots. I work back so far. This sage here is fake. It's just so that the babies, speaking of baby, just went up the tube. Go on, get out. There we go. This is my live bearer tank. If you watched one of my other videos, you can see how much this tank has changed with the growth of plants. And that's because I added Aquarium Co-op Easy Green. I did use Seachem Flourish and the a million different accoutrements that go with it, but then I changed, and I used Florin originally, and I loved that one, but the dealer I used to get it from here doesn't carry it anymore, and it's a product I really, really liked, and they had it at a good price. That grew plants very nicely also, but I'll tell you, for the price and ease of use, the Easy Green from Aquarium Co-op has just made this tank and all my tanks flourish. So I'm just doing a little light cleaning. I do my tanks, the 29 and the 55, I do them every 2 weeks. I do water changes. I used to do every week, and I started checking my levels for water purity. Now there are some babies in here, and I know with babies, Fry, you're not going to want to have nitrites and nitrates in your water, and that's okay. The other little baby tanks I change every week, but with this tank, these guys are like, well, Mom had them in here, I didn't catch them, and if they make it, great, if not. But as you can see, I don't have a large population of fish in here, so really the bio load is not that bad, and I'm very careful with how much I'm feeding, and so I've gone to every 2 weeks on this tank and the big tank. The 55 has 180 gallon on it, 180 gallon sponge filter, and then I have a ramped up 70 gallon aqua clear. And as you can see here on this spirulina, I put it in a container so I wouldn't destroy the roots. Now I have a runner, but I'm going to use that in another aquarium, so I'm just letting it go. And right here under the hose, that fleecy slate is where my coolie loach lives, so I always dig out a nice little hole for him. So this is just how I do it until it comes nice and clear, and then I know I've done a good job and have cleaned it out very nicely for my fish. This usually takes me about 10 gallons. I replace about 10 gallons. Okay, and then this is how I hook on my hose to put water back into the tank. Dollar store, you get 6 of them for $1. They clip on nice. My hands can't handle some of those big clips that they use from Harbor Freight, so I had to go a little smaller. So if I have to put 2 or 3 on, it still works. I've not had any problems with the hose popping off. And so the 29 has been refilled, and everybody's happy. It's a little cloudy, right after a fill it will be. Okay, well this is my 20 gallon grow out from my 55s outside. It's already starting a little bit, but there we go. And I'll just vacuum along here. Got to get the siphon going a little bit more going out the door, and then it'll, from these bottom tanks, these low tanks, you don't get as much pull on the siphon as you do on a tank that's on a stand. So we'll just push that over a little bit, come in here, clean this up, get my wood out of the way. There we go. There's a ram's horn snail. He came in with some of the plants that I purchased for outside. So thanks for watching this part of the series, and we'll catch you later.